Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's John Campea, and this is a companion video. Now, every day on the John Campea Show and on Open Mic in the afternoons, we take time to take some live questions from you guys, but we don't always have time to get to all the live questions that come in. So what I do is I take all those questions we didn't use and I make sure they get answered here on the companion video. Now, there are a whole bunch. We're backlogged with a bunch of questions, so I'm not going to get through all of them. So there's going to be another companion video tomorrow, but I want to get through at least a good chunk of the ones that we've got waiting. So let's not waste any time and get right to it. Now, the first question we're getting caught up on today comes to us from Trojan of Narnia, who writes, do you think we will get a TV show or movie about Luke training Ben Solo and the other members of the Jedi before it is destroyed? No, well, there's two sides to that. On the one side, do I think we will get it? No, I absolutely don't think we will. There's absolutely no point in going back to that time period. We know the big climax of that story. We've already seen it playing out. There's really no point in doing that movie. So I don't see why they would. So no, I don't think they will. Now, on the should they do it side, I'm also going to say no. They really shouldn't. For the same reasons that they won't. There's no point in going back to it. And from a personal point of view, and I'm only speaking from my perspective, you may have a different one, but from my perspective, I don't want any more stories going backwards. I want stories moving forward. Everything's about going backwards. I'm done going backwards. Let's move forward. We got enough movies going. We already got Solo going backwards. We had Rogue One going backwards. If they do an Obi-Wan movie, that's going backwards. Like, enough with the going backwards. Let's move forward with these things, especially to like the situation that you're pointing out here, a situation that we already know how it plays out, not just how it plays out in terms of the modern movies, but how it played out in that particular story. We saw the climax of that story in the Last Jedi. We already saw the climax of it. See, at least in Rogue One, we never saw the climax of the Rogue One story. We just know that, oh, the plans are delivered, but we never saw the climax of that story. So they went back and did it. With this particular story about Luke training Ben and training, we already saw the ending of it. We don't just know the ending of it, we saw the ending of it. So for me, there's no way I think they should, and I don't think there's any way that they will. So again, other people may feel differently, that's cool, but that is the way I kind of see it. All right, let's move on here. The next question comes to us from Amy Singh, who writes, hey, John. Hello, Amy. Check out Scared Games, first ever Indian Netflix original series. It's a crime drama / thriller, and I've really enjoyed watching it. Okay, so I don't know that I'm going to have time to watch it. I have very little time to watch a lot. There's a whole list of shows. People are telling me I got to get on and start binging, and I'm really far behind. But one of the great things about Netflix is that they air and they put on their service these shows that a lot of people otherwise never would have come across. And here's one of the other cool things about things like my show here is that I have lost count how many times one of the viewers like you, Amy, have recommended a show or recommended a movie, and maybe I didn't get a chance to get around to watching it myself, but I've then had other people tweet to me or email me and say, hey, John, I was watching your show and one of your viewers suggested blah, and I went ahead and watched blah, and now I really like it. Like, seriously, that happens all the time. So while I may not have a chance to get around and add yet another series I need to add to my list, Amy, I'm sure there's going to be other people who do, so thank you for the recommendation. And that's just another great advantage of something like Netflix. All right, let's move on here. TunyTube writes, Lando will die in Star Wars Episode 9, and that's fine. He is an old man like Han and Luke. Star Wars is about the young characters. I'll disagree with you on that, TunyTube. I don't believe Star Wars is about the young characters. I don't believe that at all. I believe a lot of the main characters are younger characters, whether you're going back to the original Star Wars, Empire, whatever, but I don't think it's about the younger characters. I think a lot of the characters are younger, but it's not specifically like there's a rule in Star Wars lore that our stories are about the young character. Well, tell that to Darth Vader. Tell that to Obi-Wan Kenobi. So tell that to Grand Moff Tarkin. Tell that to, I just don't think there is any kind of a rule or even a dogma that should suggest that Star Wars is about young characters. I disagree with that. I disagree with that. Qui-Gon, older Obi-Wan, Yoda, for heaven's sake. Star Wars is not by rule about the younger characters. Now, that doesn't mean I think you're wrong about Lando. Now, it was interesting. We did on our question of the day on the John Campea show the other day, when the Lando story came up that Billy D. Williams was going to be in episode 9, we did a question of the day. And the question of the day was simple. Do you think Lando's going to live or die? I said I thought he was going to die. And I thought everybody else would too. To my shock and amazement, I think it was like 71% of you guys said, no, well, Lando's going to live. He's going to live through Star Wars Episode 9, which I was shocked that you guys thought that. So maybe you guys are right. Here's hoping, fingers are crossed that he is. All I ask is that if he does die, and I'm cool with him dying, all I ask as a fan is that you give him a hero's death. That you send him out either doing something that marks him as a hero or doing something heroic. Like Han didn't do anything grand heroic, but he died trying to save his son. And really, at the end of the day, there's nothing more heroic than that. I mean, he was willing to die to try to save his son. And so he went out as a hero, in my eyes. You know, Luke died, you know, saving what's left of the Resistance. He died a hero. Okay, that's great. If you want to kill off Lando, that's fine. Just give him a hero's death that a character like Lando deserves. Maybe he lives, great. But if he dies, just make sure he goes out in a way that is worthy of an OG trilogy mainstay character like Lando. So that's all I ask. All right, next question up is John Demoto, who writes, who cares about the Joker? When will we get Man of Steel 2? Okay, so speaking of questions of the day, one of the other questions of the day, I was just yesterday, we were talking about is, you know, is the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie a good idea? And again, a lot of you guys said yeah. A lot of you guys said yeah, it was a good idea, which also surprised me. But at any rate, I'm excited for this Joker movie. I like the idea of this Joker movie. I know there's a lot of fans that are a little bit bewildered, like, why are you going to have two different Jokers? I'm fine with it because I mentioned this before. Some of my favorite comics are Elseworld stories. Whether you're talking about Red Sun, or whether you're talking about The Dark Knight Returns, or whether you're talking about, you know, some of the best comic book stories ever written are outside of continuity. They're outside of continuity stories. Kingdom Come is another good example, right? Outside of continuity stories. This isn't the real canon, but it's a version of our reality, you know. And when you take the handcuffs off comic book writers and you let them just write any kind of story that you want, and don't worry, it's in Elseworlds. Don't worry about following continuity. Don't worry about having creative handcuffs on. Do whatever you want. Then you get some really creative, great all-time, some of the best all-time stories ever. Why can't we have that for the movies? Now, I'm not saying it's going to work. It might be a train wreck. It might be terrible. But I think the potential is there for something great. And you get a director like Joaquin Phoenix playing this role. It could be great. It could be great. It might be bad, yes. But you'd have to be willfully in denial to not acknowledge that there is upside potential here, that this could be something really, really special. Might be terrible, but why not take the risk? Why not roll the dice and take the risk on it? So, look, everybody knows Henry Cavill's my all-time favorite on-screen Superman. I want a Man of Steel 2 with Henry Cavill. I want Henry Cavill as Superman in the next 8 movies. I've stopped holding my breath. I mean, quite frankly, I think a lot of you guys have probably stopped holding your breath too. I stopped holding my breath for it because I just don't believe it's going to come anytime soon. So, might as well give us that Joker movie then. All right. Paul Diego writes, first time watching live, John, you're awesome. Well, thank you so much, Paul. Of course, this video isn't live, but when you wrote it in, the show was live. So I'm sorry we didn't get around to it when the show was live. But thank you for writing that in, Paul. I really appreciate it. All right. Ronald Chrysosto. I like that name. Ronald Chrysosto. That's cool. Writes, hey, John, what are your thoughts on Marlon Brando? Oh, what are my thoughts on Marlon Brando? He's one of the all-time great actors. Streetcar Named Desire, Apocalypse Now, On the Waterfront, the Godfather films. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's Marlon Brando, man. He's great. Thoughts on Marlon Brando? I mean, it was a little kind of crazy, but he was great. I loved Marlon Brando. He was awesome. Let's see. What's next? Neal Panchal writes, listen to Drake's new album. Shout out from Brampton. Oh, I love Brampton. Brampton's got great shopping, great restaurants. I love Brampton, Ontario. No, haven't listened to Drake's new album. Well, no, I take that back. I have listened to a bit of Drake's album because Anne bought it instantly when it came out, and she was listening to it in the car, and I was in the car with her, so I have heard some of Drake's album. Gotta admit, none of it stood out to me, but I wasn't really paying close attention. I know he's just singing a lot about his kid. Whatever. Okay, people like to sing about their drama. That's fine. But no, I honestly haven't really sat and listened to it at this point. Let's see here. Next up, Anthony Luciano writes, Tony, just watched War Dogs on Sunday. Good movie, right? Talking about the Joker, because the director of War Dogs is going to be directing the Joker movie. For the first time, I liked it and would definitely recommend it. Yeah, you know, I was surprised because I thought the trailers looked okay to War Dogs. I mean, that's Jonah Hill, Miles Teller, directed by the same guy who directed Old School and directed The Hangover, and now he's going to be directing, he wrote and is going to be directing this new Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix. And honestly, I was so pleasantly surprised with War Dogs. It is such a good movie. Like, way better than you'd think it would be. And probably way better than it deserves to be. But it's such a well put together, well executed movie. It's intriguing. You get pulled into the film. It's got great tension and intrigue with it. You're wondering what's going to happen. At the same time, it's peppered with some good humor along the way. I personally think it's Jonah Hill's best performance. I really do. Jonah Hill, who's been nominated for Academy Awards twice, and I think this movie was his best performance. Miles Teller's great in it as well. So I'm glad you had a chance to check it out, Anthony. And I really recommend a lot of you guys, because it didn't do great at the box office, so I know a lot of you guys haven't seen War Dogs. I highly recommend it. Check it out when you get a chance. All right. Unbeatable writes, can we get a Hudson Hawk reboot already? Jeez, the Bruce Willis classic. Is there, I mean, other than you, Unbeatable, is there, I've never really heard the great cry for a Hudson Hawk reboot. I've never heard the cries from the fandom calling for a Hudson Hawk reboot. I'd be okay with it. You know my attitude about reboots. Reboot everything. I don't care. I mean, if it's good, great. If it's not good, so what? We've got the original, right? So that's my attitude. But is there really a big demand out there for a Hudson Hawk remake? I've never heard it. You are the first person I think I've heard ask for it, man. But hey, why not? Give Unbeatable a Hudson Hawk remake. All right. Let's move on here. Toonie writes, the movie that get destroyed in December with Mary Poppins, Aquaman, is Alita Battle Angel. Nobody will see the... Oh, you were wrong about that. Nobody will see this film. The trailer looks bad, like a video game trailer. I agree that the trailer looks bad. I agree. But to say nobody's going to see that film... you're just in denial. There are a lot of people that have been talking about an Alita Battle Angel for a long time. Now, is this movie going to open to $80 million opening weekend? No, hell no. But to say nobody's going to see this film, that's just not true, dude. That is just not true. There is a lot of people, like I said, who have been talking about and looking forward to and wanting to see an Alita Battle Angel movie for a very long time. This movie's going to make some money. It's like I said, it's not going to be an $80 million opening weekend movie, not by any stretch of the imagination, but it's going to make some money. And by making money, it's going to take money away from some of those other movies, which is why I'm constantly talking about how Aquaman needs to move. Because Aquaman needs a win more than Alita Battle Angel does, more than Bumblebee does, more than Holmes and Watson, more than anything else. Aquaman needs this win. Warner Brothers needs Aquaman to be a big win because there's a bigger picture involved with its entire DCEU and coming off of, let's call it what it is, the big stumble with Justice League. I like the movie, but, you know, it was the lowest grossing of all the DC movies. So they need this win more than anybody else. And regardless of what you may think, TunieTube, there are going to be people that go to see Alita Battle Angel. It's not going to be number one that weekend. It might not even be number 2 or 3, but it's going to make some money. It really will. It may end up losing money overall, but it's going to make some cash at the box office. It is. And that's just more that's going to take away from things like Aquaman and stuff like that. So, is Alita Battle Angel, say out of the big ones, Mary Poppins, Aquaman, Bumblebee, Alita Battle Angel. Out of those 4 films, does Alita Battle Angel have a good chance of coming in dead last, coming in fourth out of those four? I say yes, it does. But even in fourth spot, it's going to make some money. It's going to make some money. It's going to make more than 10 million opening weekend, which is 10 million less to go around to those other films. So I agree that it'll probably be the weaker out of that bunch that we talked about. I mean, it's going to make more than Holmes and Watson. It's going to make more than Welcome to Marwin. It's going to make more, maybe even more than Mortal Engines. I'm not sure. But it will make less than those other ones, but it's still going to make cash, and it's still going to be a financial drain on that weekend, and that's just another reason why Aquaman needs to move, and I hope they move because I want that movie to succeed. And I think most of us do too. All right, let's move on here. Holland Love writes, is Movie Pass sustainable? LOL, just kidding. Happy hump day. Thank you so much, Holland. It's like, wait a minute. I thought for a second, is another person asking, is Movie Pass sustainable? I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Holland. All right, let's move on here. Alex Penning writes, John, the odds of Aquaman succeeding at the box office are now 3,720 to 1. Yeah, and of course, another reference to the fact that Mary Poppins, which was at least, and Mary Poppins is going to be huge. Mary Poppins, which was before, at least opening the week after Aquaman, Bumblebee, Alita Battle Angel, Disney just moved it to the same week. And 2 days before, because all the other movies are officially opening on the Friday, Mary Poppins is now opening on the Wednesday. Just 2 days before it. So on the same week. Just crazy. And it just sunk. I mean, it just completely sunk the morale and hearts of Bumblebee and Alita Battle Angel and Aquaman even more. I'm not sure why Disney moved it there. I really don't. But they must have thought something. Here's a theory that's going around. There is a theory going around, and I don't think it's the craziest theory, that Disney got the inside word that DC is going to announce their moving release dates for Aquaman at Comic-Con. And as a result of hearing that Aquaman was moving out of that date, suddenly now that week, 1 week earlier, looked a little bit more attractive, and Mary Poppins they decided to move Mary Poppins there. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying that is a theory that's going around, and it is a theory that fits the circumstances that we have. It's a theory that fits the that doesn't mean it's true. That doesn't mean it's happening by any stretch of the imagination. However, in wondering about why on earth would Disney move Mary Poppins to that day, and one of the theories that would make it look like it makes a little bit more sense is Disney found out, got inside word, or Warner Brothers let them know through back channels, hey guys, just so you know, we're moving Aquaman out of that date. And knowing that Aquaman was moving out of that date that they're going to announce at Comic-Con, Disney decided to make a move and take advantage of that vacuum. That's a possibility. We're going to know soon. Comic-Con is just less than a week away now, man. It starts on Wednesday night. I'm driving out to San Diego. Me, Ann, Ray, Jonathan, we're all driving out on Wednesday. So I'm going to do the John Campea Show Wednesday morning. Then boom, in the cars, out to San Diego we go. And then the videos for the next couple of days are going to be from San Diego. And I'm really looking forward to that. But I am thinking more and more. I used to think there was like a 10% chance. I'm now thinking solid 25% chance that at Comic-Con, we're going to hear Warner Brothers announce that they're moving the Aquaman date. And I think they're going to move it up. Because if you're moving it back, that's not something you announce at Comic-Con. If you're moving it closer, that you announce at Comic-Con, and it's going to make the audience, the audience is going to lose their minds. I know I've talked about it a lot, but I can still see it, man. James Wan up at that podium going, so we're so glad you're going to come and watch Aquaman on December 21st. We're really excited about it. Then he's paused and go, oh, wait, one more thing. Did I say December 21st? And then the screen, boom, October 28th or something stupid like that, right? And then the audience goes, ah! Audience loses their mind and screams and, rain, cats and dogs fall from the sky. It's going to be pandemonium. I think there's a 25% chance of that happening. Now, the reason my thing has gone up is maybe because of this Mary Poppins situation moving. I think there's a pretty good chance of that happening. Then again, 75% chance it won't, and it just opens on December 21st and they take their chances. We're going to have to wait and see. Either way, I'm looking forward to it. I just want it to move because I want it to have the best chance possible to succeed. And I think moving it gives Aquaman its best chance of success. And that's all I want. But anyway, and that's all everybody wants. So here's hoping, fingers crossed. All right, next question comes to us from JCL Productions, who writes, Amy Rose Eisenbach is your writer for the movie you are directing, The Filthy. Interesting. Who do you ask to be your lead actor, director of photography, and editor? Only can choose industry professionals that you know. Okay, well, that's easy. My lead actor is an old friend of mine. Oh, maybe that's not true. Lead actor? Milo Ventimiglia. I was thinking about Sam Witwer, and I was thinking about an old friend of mine named Dave Lapsey. You guys have never heard of him, but he's done some stuff for like the Travel Network and things like that. But anyway, then I was going to say Sam Witwer, but the more I think about it, probably Milo Ventimiglia from This Is Us. I'd probably go with Milo. He's just phenomenal. He just got nominated for his second Emmy. I mean, which is crazy good. I mean, Milo is such a good actor. It's crazy. So I'll probably put Milo in there. My director of photography, probably Dennis Zen. But, okay, is he industry professional? He's not technically working in the film industry per se, so maybe I got to go somebody else. Oh, that's easy then. Brian Taylor. Brian Taylor, who, of course, directed the Crank films and other stuff too. But he's also, like, at heart, he's a DP. So I would go Brian Taylor, DP. And my editor is simple. It's an editor I've actually worked with. His name's Chuck Norris. No, I'm not kidding. The guy who edited my movie, The Anniversary, is a friend of mine that I've been friends with for many years. His name is Chuck Norris. He is a pro. He edits feature films. That's what he does for a living. So he qualifies. So my lead actor would be Milo Ventimiglia. My DP would be Brian Taylor. My editor would be Chuck Norris. And yes, his name really is Chuck Norris. So that's what I would go with. Thanks for asking. Josh Wild writes, seen the show Galavant? You know what? No, I haven't. And I've had other people ask me that on the show before. Let me finish your question anyway. Seen the show Galavant? It's a satire musical Game of Thrones spinoff. Songs by Disney's Alan Menken and great cameos like Ricky Gervais and Weird Al. You know what? Nope, never watched it. And you're about the third person, I think, to ask me about it. And I think I saw one promo for it once. I don't even know what network it's on. I think I've seen one promo for it once. And I remember thinking it looked kind of silly. But you were, like I said, now the third person to tell me that you've seen it and that it's really good and you love it. So maybe one of these days I'll have to give it a chance. Again, I got a huge stacked list of shows I've never watched. Everybody's telling me I got to watch. And so I'm hesitant to put a new one on the list because I'm about 12 deep right now. But like I said, you're like the third person to recommend it. So I might have to check this thing out sometime. And I'm sure there's going to be a whole bunch of people watching this video that are now going to go check it out because you recommended it, Josh. So good job. All right. Next one comes to us from Jose M, who writes, Entertainment Weekly Shazam official reveal. Yep, we talked about this on the John Campea show. It might have been yesterday or 2 days ago. We talked about that. I'm not feeling it. Now, I love Zach Levi. Just the costume, it's got a very Big feel to it, like Tom Hanks' classic film Big. It's got that bit of a feel to it, the image. Them standing outside of a store drinking cola, and I don't know. And the costume still has never really worked for me. It started to work for me on that one when we had a close-up shot of it. Remember Zach Levi took a picture of him in front of a big billboard poster, and he got a closer look at the costume. I thought the costume looked a little bit better there, but now I'm seeing it in this picture that came out the other day, and I'm like, no, I'm back to still not feeling it. But again, we're looking at the picture out of context, right? And how many times do we constantly talk about be hesitant about getting too worked up, either one way or the other, about excited or disappointment. Don't get too worked up, excited or disappointed with still images that we are looking at out of context. So am I feeling it? No, I'm not feeling it yet. But again, I'm looking at it out of context. So maybe once we see it in its context, it'll go, oh, now we know why it looks like that. Now it makes perfect sense. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I'm saying it's possible because we've seen that happen before. So again, let's wait till we see it in context. All right, Lee Mallinson writes, Could zealots use A-List Movie Pass / Movie Pass to book up every viewing across 3 states to inflate a movie box office total? Can't, or can see it happening? No, you can't, because you have to physically be there. You have to physically be there. Because here's the thing, you have to physically be at a movie theater to buy it. With Movie Pass, you have to physically be at the movie theater the day of the screening to book a ticket, and you can only book 1 ticket on 1 day, right? So that, you can't do it with that. AMC A-List, if you start buying tickets to movies, because you remember, they scan your ticket. They know when you've come to the movie. So you buy your ticket with A-List online. You can buy it in advance. Then when you check into the theater, they scan your ticket so they know you can. If you start buying tickets with A-List and you don't show up to the movies, they're going to suspend your card. So you can get away with it maybe for 1 or 2 movies. But you keep buying movie tickets to movies you don't show up for, they're going to suspend and freeze your account. So would there be zealots who may want to try to do something that stupid? Maybe, because there are stupid people out there. However, they really wouldn't be able to do it because of the safeties that are in place that these companies put in place on their cards, whether it's a Movie Pass, Cinemia, A-List, whatever, to prevent fraud. They do have safeties in place to prevent fraud. So it would be difficult. Would there be people who would want to try it? Sure. Would they actually be able to pull it off or do it? No, because there are safety checks in place. All right. Brian Esparza writes, have you seen First Reformed? I was going to say the Hudson Hawk. Why was I going to call him Hudson Hawk? The Handsome Hawk, Ethan Hawke. Handsome Hawk, as he likes to be referred to. His new movie. Here's the thing. There are a bunch of people who calling it like the best movie, one of the best movies they've seen this year. I liked it a lot. And Ethan Hawke is incredible in it. He's incredible. But I didn't like it. Like, I thought it was a good, solid movie. Okay, glad I watched. Good, solid movie. There are a lot of different layers to it. It's a little bit of a topsy-turvy going thing. You don't quite know where it's going. And Ethan Hawke's fantastic. But hold on a second. Let me just... I've sometimes caught myself talking about movies that I thought we were talking about the right movie. And it turns out we were not talking about the right movie. So let me just double check to make sure we are talking about the same movie. And yes, okay, it is the right movie. Okay, I just wanted to double check and make sure I was talking, because I have done that before. I have talked about a movie and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, John, you're not talking about the right movie. So the guy was talking about another movie. Yeah. So this is the right movie that we're talking about. I just didn't dig it as much as everybody else. But don't get me wrong. In the world of, is it a thumbs up or a thumbs down movie? I think it's a thumbs up movie. I do. I like it. But I just didn't like it as much as most other people did. Although Ethan Hawke was spectacular in it. Let's see. Roman Spector writes, thoughts of the Slender Man movie? You know what? The one that's coming or the one that has happened? Slender Man, 2018. August 24th. Okay, so it hasn't come out. I was about to say, I haven't seen Slender Man. That's because this is a movie that has not come out yet. So there we go. No thoughts. Zero thoughts. No opinion. No thoughts. I don't even think I've seen a trailer for it. If I did, I forgot about it. So at this point, I have absolutely no thoughts on the Slender Man movie, unfortunately. Sorry about that, Roman. Brian Esparza writes, I'm 18, moving to LA soon. Tips on living on my own. Simple tip. Stay at home. Simple tip. I would tell this to anybody. Live at home as long as you can. I understand the urge and the desire to move out and blah, blah, blah. I get that. I do. Believe me, I get it. Live at home as long as you can, because you will never have it that easy ever again for the rest of your life. It will never be as easy as that. Other tips for living on your own: live close to a laundromat. That's the best thing I can say, is live close to a laundromat. That's the best tip I have for living on your own in Los Angeles. But again, Brian, it's not too late. Think about it. Consider living at home for a few years more. Lewis writes, have you seen Bugsy Malone? One of my favorites. Again, I believe I know the movie we're talking about, but let me just double check, because I'm not 100%. I'm not 100%. And it is. Okay, it is the Jodie Foster movie. Okay. I remember seeing this film, and oh my God, Scott Baio was in it. I totally forgot about that. I remember seeing this film, but I was probably like, oh my God. It would have been in the early 80s that I saw it. That's why I need to double check. I mean, this is a movie that came out in 1976. I believe I saw it in the early 80s when I was like, I don't know, 10, maybe 11. And what was I doing watching that movie? I'm not really sure. Basically I have a vague recollection that I saw the film, but other than that, I got nothing else on it. I really don't. I cannot remember much, if anything else of it. Sorry about that, man. Styler Manu writes, have you seen the Sorry to Bother You trailer? More than that, I've seen the movie, and I didn't like it. It's one of these movies, it's one of these very, very rare times that this is a movie that's, like last I checked, it had 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, okay? 96. That means basically everybody is really liking this movie. And I did not. I thought this was a mess of a film. I really did. I understand what they were going for. I applaud what they were trying to do. I understand what it was they were trying to say and the artistic form they were using to express it. I get all of that. I just didn't think they did a good job of it. And it really sucks because for those of you who watch my show, like you, Styler, you guys know I've been really excited about this movie. I love Lakeith. He's amazing in Atlanta. He was obviously really good in Get Out. Smaller role in Get Out, but I just think the dude's a terrific performer. I love watching him on screen. He steals every scene he's in Atlanta. And I've been excited about this movie. And I thought it was, I'll be frank, I thought it was garbage. I really did. I thought it was a terrible movie. But I will still recommend to people to go see it because every other critic seems to love it. So I'm probably going to be the odd man out here. So, yeah. And by the way, forget what you saw in the trailer, Styler. This is not a subjective thing. This is pure up fact. This movie is nothing like the trailer. You could be somebody who loves the movie and you're still going to agree with me that the trailers are completely misleading. The trailers do not reflect what kind of movie this is at all. At all. And I think everybody who sees this movie will agree with that. That the movie they're selling you in the trailer is not the movie you get. Now, you may like the movie you get, but it's not the movie they promise you in the trailer. Believe me, it's not. It's a completely different thing. All right, last two questions. Abel Conturas writes, and I'm sure I'm butchering your name, Abel. Sorry about that. Have you played Magic Arena on PC? It's a blast. I have played a little, but here's the thing. I played it when it was in very, very early beta. Anne, who works at Hasbro, I was able to get an invitation to a very early beta of it. And I only played it once or twice because I found it still kind of buggy at the time. I'm reading very good things about it. I'm hearing a lot of people saying some very, very positive things about it. So I haven't, and it was months ago that I played that really early beta. So I will be curious to play it again once it's got all of its bugs worked out and it gets its actual release. I'll give it a shot. Or maybe it's out of beta now. I'm not even sure. I'll have to double check. But I haven't given it a shot since the early beta months and months and months ago. So that's about it. All right. Final question of the day. And then I know there are some of you might be going, wait a minute, John, there were more questions that didn't get answered. Yeah. I decided a lot of you guys have asked me to break up the companion videos to like a half hour each. So I'm going to put up another companion video tomorrow to make sure we get caught up on the rest of them. So ZOMG Ruler writes, Bumble should move, not Aquaman. Justice League made more than Transformers last night. So what? What does that have to do with anything? ZOMG Ruler, my brother, what does that have to do with anything? Nothing. This isn't a dick measuring contest. This isn't about what's fair. You should move. I shouldn't move. No, this is about a studio. Paramount doesn't give a shit what Aquaman does or vice versa. This is about what studio needs this the most and could benefit the most from moving. Look, everybody, they haven't announced it, and maybe there's a 5% chance that they won't, but come on, we all know they're going to reboot the Transformers, right? So what does Paramount have to lose? Does Paramount really need Bumblebee to be a big hit? I mean, obviously, they'd love it to be a big hit and make more money, sure, but everybody knows they're going to be rebooting the Transformers anyway. They don't need Bumblebee to be a big hit. You know, the studio doesn't need Alita Battle Angel to be a big hit. It'd be great if it did. They'd love it. Turn it into a new franchise. They would love it. But they don't need it. Aquaman needs to be a hit. They need this film to be a hit. With all of the turmoil surrounding the DCEU, with the, you know, the stumbling of Justice League being the lowest grossing of all the DCEU films, all that kind of stuff, they need Aquaman to do well. They need it more than anybody else. And so therefore, it's not about, no, I'm not moving, you move. It's not about that. It's about who's smartest. And the smartest will move. And leave all the other piranhas to fight over that one little piece of meat that's in the pool. You guys all fight it out over December 21st. You guys go for it. We're going to be smart. And we're going to move to where we can make more money. So it's not about, no, you move. And it's not about that. It's about who's smart. Warner Brothers needs to be the smartest guy on the block here. Warner Brothers needs to be the smartest company. They need to go, hey, you know what? Yeah, we can make some money December 21st, even with all those other movies there. But you know what? We'll make more money if we move to November. We'll make more money if we move to October. Now, there are other movies opening in November and October too, but nothing. There is no window of time in October or November that's like that 1 week window. There is a 7-day window in December. In just 7 days, Mortal Engines is opening, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is opening, Mary Poppins is opening, Bumblebee, Aquaman, Alita Battle Angel, Holmes and Watson, and Welcome to Marwen. Those 8 films all opening in one 7-day window. There's nothing like that in November or October. Sure, there's some other films opening those months too, but nothing like that. Warner Brothers needs to not play of, no, you move, it's not fair. They need to get over that and go and play the game of who's the smartest guy on the block. Warner Brothers needs to be the smartest people on the block here. And pick up Aquaman and drop it in a date where it can make more money. And that's what they need to do, and that's why I feel they should do that. That's just the way I look at it at any rate. Okay, guys, that will do it for this installment of the companion video. Thank you guys so much for being here and joining me. Don't forget, tomorrow we're going to have a new companion video going up in the evening as well, so make sure you come back and join us for that. And of course, John Campea's show every morning at 8:30 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. That's 11:30 on the East Coast. And of course, open mic at 2 p.m. in the afternoons Pacific Standard Time. That's 5 p.m. on the East Coast. Make sure you guys come back and join me for that. Guys, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're not subscribed to it already. Become one of my Patreon supporters if you like these videos. Keep these shows on the air. And that'll do it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me. My name's John Campea, and until the next video, bye-bye.